Welcome to Soul Sister Stories, where we dive into profound journeys of spiritual awakening with inspiring women. I'm Rika Markel, your host on this journey. My passion is to empower you to tune into your soul's whispers by presenting you the stories of soul sisters who have dared to dream and live extraordinary lives while helping others doing the same. Hi everyone, good morning. Where I am at least I am on my journey in Spain at the moment. I'm looking at the Mediterranean and I'm very excited to have another Soul Sister Story interview. And today my guest is Jaishri Hall, and I hope I pronounce her name correctly. She decided to become a coach about 15 years ago, a spiritual and self-development coach. And so I am very excited to hear her story. So with no further ado, please, Jaishri, tell my people, who are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm Jaishri Hall. I'm a holistic empowerment coach and mentor. And yeah, I got into, well, I can't really say that I got into this world. This world kind of, I was drawn to it. I did make a wish to find my mission in life, and coaching came through. Coaching, energy healing, and belly dancing. So it all came together. And this enabled me to really understand where we come from, how we create, how important the movement is, and that our energy is the essence of anything that we want to be, do, or have in our lives.
I totally agree with that. It is totally true. And we need to have more people that are talking about that and teaching how that really works. And so, but tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, how did that all come to pass? We in this series, we already understand that there are two kind of people showing up. The ones that had this a massive experience, and from that moment on, they had a normal life before, and from that moment on, all of a sudden, they knew that they were meant to do something bigger. Or we have the people, and I guess like you and I, that were born and knew that there was something that we needed to do. We just didn't understand what was going on. So explain a little bit, how was your childhood? How did that work? And what was your journey?
Well, since I was a little girl, I had this inner knowing. I knew I was here to help people, to serve people. That's the only thing I knew. I had no idea of how it was going to be or how it was meant to be. But that was just like a knowing, a certainty that I was 100% sure about. And when I was growing up, I didn't really have that kind of deep connection with, the identity that I had with myself. I wouldn't say that I was like a all-empowered young woman or girl. I actually felt like if I was on the other side, disempowered, didn't really feel or think I was anything special. But it was like a battle within me. But I felt more identified with that part that I'm not worth, I'm not valuable. But this did come to a change. It's like, I guess the first time I really got to experience this was when I got pregnant. I was going to college and I was 19 years old. I had traveled from Spain to United States to change my life, to get my education. So I did graduate from there, but it's like when you're studying, you're 19 years old, away from your family, everything that you know, alone in a country that you feel is your country because you were born there, but you just never really lived there. You are different, or you feel different. And that was one of the most life-changing decisions that I made in my life, was to become a mother, because that was one of my dreams. I always wanted to be a mother, to love my daughter. And so she never had to feel the way that I felt when I was a little girl or when I was a teenager. As I got into motherhood, after about 4 years or so, I did get a little bit sick. I had anxiety, I had depression, and I really didn't, I got into the normal life of getting a job, taking care of your daughter, I was a single mother too from the beginning. And then it's like this thing happened and I was like, oh, what's wrong? But that's not the question that I did myself. I asked myself, okay, what can you do for yourself? How can you enjoy your life a little bit more? And these kind of questions that just arise from within, that you don't really know where they come from, but they're questions that start shifting your life in a certain direction. Because the questions that we make ourselves, in a way, they get to define our life and who we become at present. So these questions did change my life at that point. I did start to recover from that without having to take any pills or anything like that. I was raised in a macrobiotic home, natural environment where I never took medicine. So that wasn't, I knew I wasn't going to get cured or healed by taking those things. And then, okay, I healed. I had to make some tough decisions and let go of that certainty of that regular job where you get that fixed amount of money. It was like, no, I can't go on with this because this is not really serving me. And I'm not going to put my health at risk. If I need to leave, I'll just leave. And I didn't have any savings. I didn't have anything, but I always had certain certainties in my life that, okay, I know I can make it. I have no idea of how, but sometimes you need to make certain choices and just go through. And then I do believe that the universe backs you up, but it starts within. It always starts with you. A few years later, I was working again and I was sort of okay, but I was like, is this all there is? I'm sure there must be something else. So I just looked up into the sky and I asked the universe, please tell me what I'm here for, because I'm sure this is not it. I was working in sales. I was good at it, but it wasn't fulfilling. And I knew there had to be more to life. So through one of my customers that I was on a call speaking to, I got this invitation to go to a coaching course. And that was when my life actually really transcended. I went to this course thanks to my father. My father was dying at that time from cancer. And thanks to his death, I always say that it's like a gift that I felt that he gave me, because everything came together, because it wasn't in the city that I was living at. So I had to travel there. This woman was around there in that town near Madrid. So I did that course. She had also gone through cancer, so she could understand many things. And I remember this sentence that was in the workbook from Socrates, something like, I can't teach you anything. I can only help you like gain that wisdom or access that wisdom that is within you. And that resonated like a truth. I knew it was true. And I just fell in love and was totally drawn into the world of coaching. And right after that weekend course, it was an intensive course, I had one of the most beautiful experiences in my life where I felt connected with everything. I felt the oneness, no separation between me and any other person or any other thing. It was just being one with source and with everything that is. So that was like that big breakthrough and that great connection.
All right. This is a great story, because it just shows that life doesn't have to be so dramatic. And I'm not saying that you didn't go through hardship, or like maybe there was like you had your depression period of time, but it's not like so extraordinary. It just like it at the outside, it looks like normal life, normal world. And then, but inside there is this longing, inside there is this yearning for something else. And then you look up to the universe and you say, what's going on? What's happening here? And then the universe listens. And I think when we spoke before this interview, that was like, for me, something that I wrote down, that you have this profound knowing that there is so much more. Like, it's not something that you had to discover. It was something that you knew. And that's what you said, like from a very young age, you knew there was just more. And the only thing our society is not created to bring that out. When we go to school, we are not in touch with what the universe is bringing us. So it's very special that you didn't give up, and that little whisper was still there, and that you listened to it, which is amazing. So from there, you followed this coaching, and I know that this was the beginning, but I am very curious to hear the whole belly dancing story, because you mentioned it in the beginning, and I am not gonna let that go, because it is intriguing to me, because I know that it must have a profound impact on your life. Otherwise, you wouldn't mention it. So what's about that? What happened? How did that came into your life?
Actually, when I was 24 and I got this anxiety, depression, I started asking myself, okay, what can you do for yourself? I wasn't really aware of what I liked, because I just sort of lived my life, never really. I did ask myself questions, but I was more like go with the flow and not question too many things. So when I got to that point, I was like, what do you like? And then I started remembering when I was a little girl, I used to dance. I used to perform in my terrace, and there was a hotel in front of the terrace of our apartments. And I remember dancing and the customers clapping after we danced. And they weren't that close, but they were able to appreciate. So then I said, okay, I did like dancing. I enjoy dancing. So I started like going out partying with my friend, but then I said, I don't want to be partying like every weekend or so. Maybe it's a good time to sign up for dance classes. So that's exactly what I did. And I went to some belly dance classes. This was for a short period of time. Then I stopped, but then I got back into it a few years after. And that's when I really started dedicating myself to learning that ancient art of belly dancing, to studying in depth, to become a professional belly dancer, an instructor. And this was right after the coaching, because when you're coaching or when you're being coached, you get in touch with your heart's desires. So I remember telling my coach and my trainer and mentor that I wanted to dance. And she told me, oh, you're too old. I was 28. And I was like, I hate it when people tell me what I can't do, because this is one of the lessons that my father taught me. Don't ever have anybody tell you what you cannot do. So I remembered that. And I said, if I want to dance, I'm just going to go and dance. It's like, so, and this was like shocking, because she was a coach and my mentor, and that, looking at it from that limiting perspective, there wasn't that coherence. But I decided, okay, so if I want to dance, I can just go ahead and dance. So I got into lessons. I started my trainings. I wasn't ready to take the test for the professional course, but I've always got into this space where I've challenged myself. I challenged myself when I decided to become a mother at the age of 19. Then when I decided not to take medicine to heal myself, I did that on my own. And then when I got into the world of belly dancing, I said, I'm just going to give it a try, because if I don't, I won't know. So I did it, and I was a surprise for everybody, because I did pass the test. So I was able to do what I really wanted and learn and go into depth. And then I kept on doing so in different areas. But this is connected to coaching, because I was always like really shy. And I decided when I started dancing that I was going to perform. Every time my teacher asked for volunteers, I would always raise my hand, because I knew I didn't want to let anything stop me from doing something that I loved and enjoyed. So this was a great way for me to learn to express myself, to let the energy flow, to move, because there are different ways that we can use our self-expression. So this has been a really profound one for myself. And when I became an instructor, a belly dance teacher, I've seen so many women shift and empower themselves and connect with their inner beauty, with their self-love, with their empowerment in the end.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting that you bring that up, because in our last week's interview, the person that I was interviewing at that time, she got into hula hoop. And so it is very interesting for me. And I am not the kind of person who moves. I am not the go to the fitness kind of girl or anything. It's just not my thing. I would love to dance though. And it was funny that you speak about it and she spoke about it. But I truly believe, by thinking about it too, that this whole idea of dancing, that it works on the basic chakras, like on the lower energy centers, and that it 100% will affect how you stand in life. And I don't know anything about it, but I know that you use it in your coaching. And it is like on a spiritual level, for sure, our energy and how our energy flows in our body and how we are as women empowered, the dancing must be beneficiary to in our whole being. And I don't know anything about it, so I would love for you to tell a little bit more about that. Like, I know that you integrated. What do you see happening with women that start doing dancing or anything that will make the energy flow more? What is happening?
There's a connection when we start using our bodies, our physiology. So at first, I wasn't really aware. I didn't really understand all of this. This came throughout time, and it continues to evolve. But I always talk about the four bodies. We've got our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, and our energy body, essence, our intuition,
Correct.
divine, however we want to call it. So it's like when we are dancing and we are able to just let go of everything and just flow with the movement, we are allowing. So life flows when we allow. If we try to do everything from our heads, we're going to be stuck in a certain point. So we need to connect all of the dots, all of the four different parts, so that everything can move gracefully. So when we're belly dancing, I've always been into things that are more expansive. And I was fascinated by belly dancing because it's something that you don't need to have a specific kind of body or shape, or it's like it's for all kind of women. It's like you can be maybe younger, or you can be older, or you can maybe be a few kilos more, or you can be very thin. It doesn't matter. You can always be a beautiful dancer, and you can always connect with that energy. And there's no, like, in most dances, there's like a specific age that you can do it for. But if you look into the world of belly dancers, it doesn't really matter how old you are. If you're an excellent dancer, you can go on dancing until you decide to, until the end of your days. Because if you're a dancer, you're always going to want to dance. So when women start getting in touch with their movement, and I've had women that have told me, oh, I've got no rhythm, oh, I can't dance. And I'm like, everybody can dance. It's just letting go of your mind and just feeling, getting in touch with what feelings do you get from the music that you're hearing? How does your body want to move? And just give it that freedom, that space, so it can do so. And then also, because when you're belly dancing, especially if you perform, we are very exposed because, belly dance costumes. It's like a bra and a skirt, long skirt, and being in front of the public, and just maybe a lot of people talk about being vulnerable. Not sure if that's the right way, but it's like, here I am, and I'm here because I want to, because I love to, and I'm going to enjoy myself the most that I can. It helps them build self-esteem, self-value, self-worth, and then also moving. And because when you belly dance, most of the times you also get ready and you look very beautiful. You wear all of the things that you want to, every woman in their own way. But it's like a deep connection with beauty, your inner beauty. and
I
letting
love
it
it.
flow.
I love the idea. You really make me very curious. It's like I almost want to just take on and see where I can learn how to do that because it's really intriguing to me. And I think a lot of people that are watching this will also now want to know where can we learn this? And I know it's probably something and maybe I'm asking a stupid question, but you probably can't learn this online. Like there's no way that like, and I don't know. I'm just asking, like, can you start learning this in your own home or do you have to go somewhere?
You can actually. It's like, when COVID happened and I was used to working outside a lot everywhere. So that's when I started teaching online. I had never really thought about that. But then I saw that women were interested. They would, especially at those times, it was a great way for them to focus on something good and to enable that energy to flow within them, to change their focus, to be happier. And yes, I've had different like students, like in groups or one-on-ones also. I remember I had this woman that she was living in the UK, and she had been to some belly dance classes before, but she felt like a deep connection because she was actually able to understand. Because I've been in the world of teaching for many years also. So it's like one thing is what you can do as a dancer, and another thing is what you can transmit and how you can help people learn, and how you need to think of different ways so that the person can actually connect with, okay, how is this movement done? And I've seen how women learn how to belly dance online. So it is possible.
No, that it's amazing. It's very intriguing, and I could talk about it more, but let's just go to the next thing. So, what is it exactly? Like, let's say, oh my God, I really like somebody's watching this and they say, I really connect with this person because this is what it is all about. Like I'm featuring coaches that are empowering women that come from a spiritual background that really want to get the best out of us, and so you resonate with this person or with another person, but let's say somebody really resonates with you. How are you working with people? How do you empower them? What's your process? How does it work?
First of all, it's like we would have like an interview to see like if we're a right fit for each other. And then it's like I've worked mostly one-on-one, but now I'm preparing like group processes because I think it's important to work together, more women, because then the energy expands more and we're able to support each other in better ways. So I'm preparing this program that is going to be launched between the end of March or the beginning of April. This program is called Impactful Essence. And this is a program where it's for women that want to connect with their leadership, their own leadership, the way that they feel complete and total, being who they are, getting rid of everything that they've been told, how they have to be, who they have to be, to just blooming into themselves, being authentically them, because that's when we actually get to create an impact within our lives and within the lives of people that surround us. That's the most important thing. And always from a place of connection with our source. If we're connected with our source, with our soul, then everything is possible. So we need to allow that flow of it within us. And then, of course, align our mindset, understand what our emotions are telling us, because our emotions are divine guidance for us to be in touch with, for us to allow, for us to be able to navigate within, to understand and to boost, and then connect it with our bodies also, because if we have two or three parts connected, but there's one missing, it's not going to work as good. So it's like that holds the whole thing, beginning with your essence and then going into the other parts of yourself, getting rid of anything that's not part of you and letting that you just flourish and evolve. So I work with women for a minimum of 90 days, because in 90 days, anything can be transformed. That's been my own experience and the experience that I've had with other women that I've worked with. Well, women and a few men also. And being consistent, creating new habits, new rituals, whatever you decide is best for you. We go from there. And you're the creator of your life. So you're going to be creating that life where you're madly in love with.
Understood. Understood. All right. So I will put for sure the website and all the links that you can find Jaishri, that you can communicate with her. As you can see or hear, she's doing those intake interviews. So I would just take that chance and just have that conversation and see if there's anything that she can do to help you. And so what is the future bringing for you, Jaishri? What's going on in your world? And so tell us something juicy. What's going on?
Well, I'm really excited this year. I know I can feel this is an amazing year. I can say it's the best year of my life already. It's like last year was the toughest and probably the worst year of my life. That's how it started. But by the time that I was reaching that last quarter, I was able to appreciate it was also the best year of my life. So I finished the year like that. And I started with new intentions, new manifestations. And I'm happy and proud to say that they're all falling into place because we're only in February, but I have my inspirational manifestation list, which is something that for every person that works with me, you build your own on your dreams. This is a year where I love learning about personal development for myself and then to always share with the people in my world. So this is a year where I'm doing a lot of that. All in. I'm all in this year. I want to travel a lot. This is the first trip of the year here in France. Everything was actually, it's like I would write something and 2 days after I had the invitation to come over. So things are moving very quickly nowadays. So it's very important to stay focused on what you want. Feel as if you're already living it. That's how I'm living every day. And this is how I'm seeing quantum manifestations take place in my life. And I know if I can, you can. So it's all about that. Lots of trips, lots of trainings with the best leaders in the world, like Tony Robbins. Yeah, there's a few others, but I love Abraham Hicks also. So being in their energy is amazing.
I get that. And that is why I'm so excited about this series because, I think working one-on-one with somebody is very, very valuable. And even though when you're or a small group, I'm not saying but I mean, there's a difference for me in my experience when I go with thousands of people and I listen and I'm very inspired. But then I go home and what happens is you created a vessel for something to happen, but now you have to hold that vessel. And so it is not always that easy to hold that vessel on your own. And then having somebody who is like holding space for you and give you also that energy so that you can move through it, that is an important part, I think, of the evolution of us women stepping into our power. And that's why I think it's so important that we all find that person that is inspiring to us, but that is also going to hold our hands. Because let's face it, Tony Robbins is not going to hold your hands. He's not going to be available on the phone when you are in a bad moment. He's not going to pick up the phone and say, oh, let me hold space for you in this moment. So we need to hold space for each other. And the more people that do that, the easier, like this is what you also said, like when we come together, we will lift each other up. And that's why when we come together as women, we will lift each other up, but also on a personal level, not like somebody's talking. And I'm not saying that that is bad. That is part of it. But also, because of what more people are going to the Tony Robinsons, there is also more need for coaches that when these people go home to hold them. And that's why I am very thrilled about this series, because I am reaching out to coaches all over the world that can hold space for all the women that want to step into their power. So, Jaishri, is there one more thing you would love to share with our audience, and like something that you can leave them with that they can think about?
Yes, it's like everything starts within. It's like as coaches, we're able to hold that space, but we're only able to do that because we started with ourselves. It's like we went on that journey. We are on that journey and we keep on evolving on that journey. So when we work with someone, it's like they make the choice, they make the decision. Okay, now I'm ready. Because if you're not ready, then you're probably not going to make the most out of it. But when you actually are able to go through that barrier of fear and have the courage to ask for help, ask for support, you know you're going to find it. So I can say that from my own personal experience, because that was mine. I was ready. It's like they say, when the student is ready, the master appears, or something like that. What I love about coaching is that we're not masters of anybody. We can work as mentors as well. And I also mentor, but it's like always recognizing your inner wisdom, your path, your way of wanting to be, because we need to respect that. And we need to respect women as we are, because we've been throughout history in different places where we weren't really placed in that space. And I feel like this new area is about women stepping up, women supporting, women collaborating, and women rising. Not only women, but it's a special time for women. So I'm here for that. And I'm doing it because I love doing that. It's my passion and it enriches my soul. And I know it serves.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So I'm going to wrap it up here. And I really hope you enjoyed this interview. And for me personally, the whole belly dancing thing is very special to me. And I am amazed how all these new modalities are coming into my life. I asked the universe, show me how I can move better. And everybody that is like showing up in my world has a certain way of moving. And I think it's just amazing, amazing, amazing. So keep an eye out for the next interview. I have more women lined up in Soul Sister Stories, and they should inspire you to start your journey or to go further on your journey. And I hope that whoever is inspiring you, that you can reach out to them and work with them, or find more connection with them, because it's by the connection of us that we are stepping into our power. So have a wonderful day, you guys. Thank you for joining us. If our journey today resonated with you, please consider subscribing and liking this video to support our growing community. For more insights and resources, be sure to check the links in the description below. They're filled with valuable information and support to guide you on your spiritual path. Remember, your soul's journey is unique and magnificent. Stay connected, keep exploring, and let's continue this journey together in our next episode. Until then, keep listening to the whispers of your soul and embrace the life of your dreams.